Hi everyone. Hopefully they should be able to see the video going live. If you can, put a message in chat. Let me know that you can see chat. That would be useful. Hopefully you can. We had some issues with chat last week. I'm not sure if it was a function that I hadn't enabled on my side or if you need to be signed into YouTube to see YouTube live chat. Also possible. But if you are there, please just drop a message so I know that you have been able to find the link easily enough. I will just quickly check if anyone is struggling with that link. Hopefully not. Cool. Just going to give it a moment for people to show up and see if they do. And then we'll go from there. Sorry, I'm just loading up the video concurrently and trying to also not ruin it. Ah, Anna's there. Hey, Anna. You can see. Hopefully this is swish enough for you. Cool. So we'll carry on with it, and hopefully some more will show up. If not, then at least the video will get put onto Google Classroom later on, and people can see it from there. So we're going to look at Google Slides today. There's a lot of really basic things you can do with Google Slides in terms of just creating fairly simple PowerPoints, and we're going to look at some of the more advanced stuff that you can do with it. The main 6 things we're going to look at are how to import different file types, how to use some of the tools that are embedded already within Google Slides, using the Google Explore function, some general tips for aesthetics as well. Hey, Anna. Awesome. Glad you could see. And we're going to look at inserting videos and GIFs and images into slides as well. And then there's some links at the end just for all of the stuff that I use kind of day to day to either make my slides look good or to try and speed up that process as well. So if you didn't know, you can configure your Google Drive settings so that you can use this function here that allows you to convert files to a Google Docs format when you upload them. So what this means is if you download a presentation from TES, for example, and then upload it into your Google Drive, it will automatically convert the file into a set of Google Slides. It will try to make do with any sets of missing texts or, missing fonts or anything like that. It will then kind of just convert it straight away. It also works for converting Word documents into Google Docs, spreadsheets into Google Sheets. It's a really useful function for if you're borrowing resources from elsewhere or if you've got a bunch of resources from old schools or something like that as well. So to do that, I'll just quickly show you all. If you're in Google Drive, then I need to go to Google Drive now. Hang on. So if you're in Google Drive, you're just looking for this cog function up here. Oh, I can do a thing now. I learned how to magnify. Hopefully this will work. There we go. So you should be able to see there as a magnifying glass, and you're looking for this button here for the cog, and then if you click on that and go to settings, then you want to use this one here, convert uploads, and just make sure you've got this ticked, and that's all you need to do. And then the next time you drag and drop a file in, it will automatically convert it into the Google Docs default file types, which is pretty funky. Cool. So one of the really basic tools that's in Google Slides already that's really simple to use is their paint format. And there's a little button up here that looks like a paint roller. So if you've got some text highlighted, then it's going to, and you click on this, what it does is it copies the format of that text. So for example, here's some text I've already formatted, and say if I then wrote something else and wanted it to look the same way, but I didn't want to spend that time formatting it again, I can quite simply click on the box, copy the format, click on the other box, and it's going to convert it. But it's only done the one word because I only clicked on the one word. So if again, I can copy it again, and then I can do the whole thing, and it will convert it to the new format. Very straightforward. It does it for alignment. It does it for if you've got different, it does it for alignment. It does it for if you've got different fonts, backgrounds, everything that is kind of part of the text that you're talking about, you can convert, and vice versa. And it's just a really useful time saver. I use it all the time because it allows me to have consistent slides, and I'm a big fan of having consistent slides for my lessons. So for example, I'll quickly show you, oh, not this one. I did get one of these ready. There we go. So for example, when we're doing our Year 6 slides, We always use the font Dalius because I was once told that it's the best font for if someone has dyslexia, and is apparently quite suitable for that. Comic Sans also seems to have that reputation as well. So then whenever we're kind of putting our slides together, it's really useful having consistent formats that the year sixes can follow, and also consistent fonts that I don't have to keep constantly changing it. There are other things you can do for that to speed this process up, and we'll cover those in a little bit in terms of creating master slides. So, sorry, I'm getting all lost here on different things. So going back to those slides, that's the paint format. The other ones that you could do to speed up that are already based in Google Slides functions are distributing and aligning, and this also saves a lot of time. So if you copy and paste an object, it kind of does this cascading thing, and then you need to then like arrange it. So say if you wanted to put like 6 text boxes with a variety of different links or videos or something like that in there, then that can take a while to arrange. And one of the things you can do is to use the right-click function for align horizontally, vertically, and to distribute. What this allows you to do is it will use the range that you've selected. So for example, if I were to align these horizontally, and I'm going to do it by left, it's going to do it from the leftmost one currently there. If I put them over, if I put one just over here, and then I want to spread them out across this distance, say if I wanted to do the whole width of my slides and then highlight them, I can then align vertically, which means that they're going to go to one point along there. So for example, I could do middle, and they'll find the middle point, and all those other ones have now been stacked on top of each other. But I can also then go distribute, and I could distribute them horizontally, and it will automatically arrange all of these boxes for me within the outer limits that any of the currently selected boxes are within. So this is a really useful way of creating different text boxes. I used it earlier when I was doing my table of contents, and I've got a variety of different text boxes here that I made sure that were distributed evenly across this particular slide and aligned to the left as well. So that allowed me to create that quite simply, and it's just a really useful function. I use it so often now that I know to do it, if you know what I mean. So highly recommend that one as well. And this is one of the other things that you can do to save yourself a lot of time, especially if you're trying to create some consistent slides. I think in our current format of continuous learning, this is more valuable now than ever, really, because you're going to be setting slides for all of your lessons for quite a while. So having, I'm glad you're liking that one, Anna. So having a way of creating basic formats that are going to be similar across either different lesson types or different year groups, so it could be for your own recognition as well, then setting those things up means that you don't need to keep repeating the same process of making it look the same. So creating master slides is kind of like when you have different themes within Google. So you have your basic themes that everyone pretty much knows how to use. If you don't, here are themes. And that will then change all of the slides to fit these formats. Well, you can create these as well. So for example, if I go back to our year 6 example over here, here we've got all of our first activities all have this green background with like a shaded gray box over the top of it, and then it's Dalius font. So we do that for all of our activities, and then all of the second activities are all an orange one, so that it shows that we've moved on to a new activity for our year 6s to learn. We've now split this up into 2 sets of slides, but this is just to show the point. And then we always have the blue one at the end, which is like their Seesaw summary slide of everything they need to put onto Seesaw that day. Well, to save ourselves time of recreating this all of the time, we then just made our own set of master slides so that it was going to create that by default. I've done the same here. I use this format for all of my slides. And if I create a new one now, you can see that it automatically defaults into this background. And then if I click on layout, I've got a few different options from how I've customized it previously. Now, this is quite straightforward to do. All you need to do is go to slide, and then click on Edit Master, this button here, and that's going to show your master templates for the current set of slides that you're in. What you can then do, if you make any edits to the top one, that will affect everything from then on. But if you make edits to subsequent ones, this is how you can start to customize layouts, and you can have things automatically appear how you want them to. So you can do this for, say, your Word work slides or your English slides, and then have it consistently like that all you need to do is copy the slides each time, or just copy one of these slides into another set of Google Slides as well, and it will carry that format across. I'll just demonstrate that as well, just so that makes sense. So if I take this slide here and I put this into my Year 6 ones over here by just doing Control-C, Control-V, at the moment it's going to ask me this. It's going to say, do I want to match the style here, or do I keep the original styles? If I keep original, it's going to bring across that formatting with me. And then I have the option then of when I make new slides, you can see I've now got 2. It's going to subsequently carry on using this format and this theme, and I've now got my different options here as well for my different layouts. So it's important when I bring one slide over, it brings all of the formatting associated with that slide, including what master slides it's linked to. So this one, again, once you're used to using it and you're using it routinely, is a huge time saver. It's well worth taking the time to set yourself up with a set of slides, because it really will just pay dividends later on, and we're probably going to be doing this for a while. So the more time you invest now into getting your routines and your learning habits set up, the more time you'll save later. Okay. Google Explore. So this is I call these generic Google EDU functions. These are the kind of things that are, if you learn how to use them, they can be applied then across the variety of Google's programs. So Explore is this little button down here that you can hopefully see in the bottom right. I'll just circle it a little bit. I can also highlight it with this. So the Explore button is in Google Docs, it's in Google Sheets, Google Slides. It's pretty much every Google program that you can bring up. And what it is it's a variety of things, actually. I mean, I'll show you an example. So here we've got a set of text and an image. And if I was going to use this as, say, a title slide, what I can use is click on the Explore function, and it's going to offer me a variety of layouts using the image that's currently there and the text that's with it. So this is a nice way of quite simply speeding up how you present your work or present your slides. It does a bit more than that, though. It's also your internal Google. This is how you can search for images and put them into your slides very simply. If I just get rid of everything here, and say if I wanted to find a picture of a cat, what this is going to do is going to bring up search bars for 3 different sections. I'm just going to bring up that magnifying glass again, just so I can show this a little bit more easily. There we go. So I'll move it a bit more center as well. So what we've got here then, we've got the web section, images, and drive, and these are the 3 tabs that Google will start searching for when you use the Explore function. So if you use web, what that's doing is it's literally Googling whatever you type in there, and it's bringing up your search results. So in case you weren't aware, cats are animals. Here's some pictures, and it tells you a bit of information. You can then go into Wikipedia, or you can bring up different results as well. And say if I wanted to, I could then use this information as a citation as well, but we'll get onto that when we get onto Google Docs. It's a bit more relevant there. You can use Google Images, and it will then bring up all of the copyright-free images associated with your search. So this is really important, because if you wanted to share your resources on, or if you wanted to make sure that all of your resources aren't infringing on copyright elsewhere, these are copyright-free images. So you'll get different results here than if you just search in Google. So I'll show you quickly, if I search for, I don't know, cats into Google, there are a few images of cats on the internet. We get different image results coming up, because these ones are already filtered by copyright-free results, and these ones are not. There will be some crossovers, obviously. But that's kind of what this does. And lastly, if I go to Drive, it's probably going to bring up a bunch of cat scores, because it's going to search through my Drive and any files shared with this Google account for the word cat. So you can also then search for files and drag them in here as well. So I'm not going to do that for obvious reasons. So that's the Explore tool. It's really useful, and it's really quick way of just, say if you want to use an image in the middle of your slides, say for example the Google Docs image, you'll be able to find that quite easily there. Okay, copying and previewing slides. So this is a little bit more advanced, but it's really useful, especially in our situation in primary at the moment, where we aren't using Google Classroom, but there's definitely applications elsewhere as well. So if I look up at the top here, I've got my URL for this set of Google Slides. If I wanted to share this with someone who already had access to these slides, I could just copy that and I could send it to them, and they'd be able to open it. There's a few things I can do with this. At the moment, it's set to view because I haven't shared this with anyone. It's not set to anyone with the link can edit, for example. But what I can do is I could change that to preview. And if I change it to preview, I'm going to delete everything at the end bit here. Hopefully you can see this clearly enough. I'll bring up the magnifying glass again, my new favorite friend. There we go. So here, this bit here, at the moment, everything after that last / is just telling Google how to let people interact with these set of slides. If I delete all of that and I change it to preview, and then I copy all of that URL, and I'm going to open up a new tab and enter that in. I think this will work. I might need to be in a different account. Oh no, it's worked. There we go. So now I'm in a preview mode with these slides. This is the kind of view you get if you embed the slides into a website, but it's a great way of sharing a presentation with parents, for example, where they don't then have all of the extra functions around the outside of being able to edit it, even though they don't have that function. So this then allows you to then click through the slides, but you don't have any of the actual tools for interacting with it. This is just a preview function. The same can be done if I go back and I'm going to delete from here again, and instead of preview, I'm going to put in copy. So what happens now is, if I send this link to anyone, it's going to make them make a copy of those slides. They can't see it, they can't preview it, they can't edit it. All they get is the copy function. Now, if you've used Google Classroom, this is quite a familiar function, being able to make students make a copy of a file when they open it within Google Classroom. This is another way you can do that. If you want to just email out a link to say all staff of a document they need to make a copy of, this is a simple way of doing it without making them join a Google Classroom. So then they would then have to make a copy. It automatically does that renaming thing where it calls it copy of slides - breakfast bites and all of the rest. It's probably going to take a while because there's a lot of images in this file. But there you go. So now I've got a duplicate set of these slides, and you can email that link out to people, and it will only give them that option. So it's a nice way of creating duplicates and sharing file types. I've used this a few times with Year 6 already, where I've given them basically templates of how I want them to answer or continue with an investigation, and then this has stopped me having to then have them edit the master slide and then delete it and alter it and edit it and all those annoying things. The only problem with that is then you then need to get them to share their files and update the sharing settings, and that's a work in progress at the moment. Okay. Aesthetics. So other ways we can use some different tools to make things look a bit better in our slides. So color palettes is a big one, I think, especially again in our current situation where our students are going to be staring at our presentations for 4 to 8 hours of any given day. Making them appealing and easy to read is pretty important. This is a bit of a gag slide. It's hilarious to show kind of what we're talking about here. So white on pale backgrounds is difficult to read. It strains the eyes, and you want to try and avoid that. Generally, you want to avoid white backgrounds, but I like white backgrounds because it works better with images. So there's a few different things we can do here. This is referencing a tool that I use called I've actually got 3 of them because they sometimes bug out on me. But this one here, which is my color picker. So if I want to make sure that I've got consistent slides again, I want to make things look appealing. Say if I wanted to make a set of slides all based around this Slides Carnival image here, what this eyedropper allows me to do is hover over a section on my screen, and then it will pick out the pigment or the pixel, sorry, underneath, and it will take that color. So you can see hopefully over here, this box here is showing whatever color I'm moving my cursor over, and it's going to pick out that color. So say if I wanted this orange, I could click that, and then it's copied it to my clipboard. Now what I could do, if I wanted to say change this text, this font color to that same color, I could go to custom, and then I could Control V and paste in the reference code for that color, and now it's an exact match for the color on that image. Now this isn't essential stuff. This is just if you want to go that extra notch and make sure that everything's looking consistent or looking appealing. Having one font across Google Slide is also a big tip I would offer to everyone. This is awful to look at. It offends me. Generally, I try to make sure that I've got one font or at maximum 2 fonts across any set of slides, just because otherwise it starts to look a bit slapdash or a little bit like it wasn't planned. Another way you can make your slides look good as well is you can import slide templates from other websites. There's two that I use regularly. If I'm not making my own, I'll use Slides Carnival, which I'll show now, and another one called Slides Go. There's links to both of these websites at the end. And what these give you are free to use. You don't need to create an account to use them or download them. Different templates that you can use to kind of just mix up your Google Slides. So for example, if I wanted to do something like a presentation, I wanted to make it look really good or professional, or say if I was going to focus on like an environmental day and I wanted to focus on the Earth, I could use this. So then I can go to preview and download. I'm using it as a Google Slides theme. And then what it will do is it will show me what this looks like as an example. And this is that kind of preview mode that we were looking at earlier. And it's a set of different slides with a load of awesome images that's been very, very well formatted. If I click Use Template, that's basically making a copy of it. And then I'm going to have this copy of these slides that I can start to edit for myself. This is called Woodville, apparently. And then I can then edit these and use them as I want to. So this is another way that we can get different themes for Google Slides that we can then start to use just to kind of improve our presentation a little bit. What I quite like about these is they often come with a load of little icons at the end, which are really great because they're kind of vector files, so you can use them, you can drag them, and you can change up the size and color of these quite easily. So you can make them how you want for your images. So this is really useful. For example, if I've got year 6 doing something in their books, I like using these icons just for dotting around the page to make them understand what the expectation is of a particular task. For example, go take a photo of your work, and I've got a nice camera icon that I can use here just to highlight that in a visual way, so everything's not just text all the time. Okay, that's Slides Carnival. Cropping images. This entire presentation is just me getting a chance to moan about my pet peeves. This is definitely another one. Cropping images. When you see stuff like this and we've got like an image taken from somewhere else, and say if you only want a particular part of it and there's other bits lying around as well, it's really easy just to double click and edit that and then remove the bits that you don't want using the boundaries. It's a very simple thing to do. It doesn't take too long, and I genuinely think it makes a big difference. And also, it removes the amount of clutter on your slides. It removes the amount of clutter that's currently on your screen and makes it a lot easier for the attention to be focused on what's actually necessary. The last one I'll show you is PNG files. So there's different file types that you can use within Google. And if I wanted to look for, let's see, map of the world, like I've got there, it's going to bring up a lot of different images, and I can use like different terms to make it simpler, or I can use simple as like these different labels up at the top, and then I can use some of these. But the problem with these are, if I take one of these images in, more than likely it's going to have a white background with it, and if I want to use this on a colored background, it's not going to look very good. It's going to look like that. So like this image here, it doesn't look as great, or it doesn't look as clean as it could do. So if you search instead for a PNG file, what it's going to do is it's going to try and bring up a file that doesn't then have a background. Sometimes it can, there we go, this is a good example. So you can see here on our image, let me bring up my magnifier. You can see here on my image, we've got an image here with nothing on the background. And then when we get over to the image over on Google, there's this checkerboard background. And this shows that we've got a transparent background. So I'll get rid of this. And now if I copy this image, this is how you can find images that then don't have a background over the top of it. So you can generally make them a lot more appealing this way. So the other thing that you can do here is you can also format the image, and you can normally recolor it within Google. It doesn't give you a huge amount of options, but you do have different colored options that you could use that will automatically get applied. So you start developing these skills over time. They become more fluent. You get faster at doing it, and then your slides can look a lot better when they're put together with just a bit more time and a bit more routine, I suppose, is what I'm trying to get at. Cool. Basically, at the end, last thing I wanted to show is how you can insert GIFs into Google Slides. It's fairly straightforward. Mostly you're going to image, and you're going to insert an image via URL, and that will then allow you to find a GIF and put it in. So for example, because I made a GIF about inserting GIFs, because it amused me to do so. It's fairly straightforward though. Once you've found something that you want, and you can literally just search, this was me searching for physics GIF, and it's fairly straightforward to then find the image, right click on it, copy the URL. Here you go, copy the URL, and then you can, there you go, copy image address, and then you can go to Google Slides, click on insert, insert by URL, and then just paste that, and then you'll have a GIF. So it's just a nice way, again, of making your slides appealing and making them eye-catching. Cool. So I'll share these slides on Google Classroom later on. There are hyperlinks on all of these files here for if you wanted to go and explore any of these things, including Slides Carnival and Slides Go. And that's pretty much it. Is there any way to do it with curved edges on cropping? Not that I found. I would love it if I could do that. There's a fun exercise you can do, though, if you want to be really, really nerdy and probably waste too much time with it. So if we take an image from, let's take this image here, which is just a nice simple image I can edit. So you can't crop it. You can shift it around within the box that's being shown, which is kind of strange and not really, I've not yet found a good application for that. You can cut off different bits of it as you want to. And then beyond that, it's quite difficult to do. You can then start to put borders over the top of it, if you can find images with curved styles, curved tops. You can also, in case you weren't aware, you can use Control or Command if you're on a MacBook and press up, and it will change the order of where things are. Is another useful one. So, I mean, you can always place borders around it, or you can, if you wanted to get really over the top, you can start to edit the fill of these things. If you go to Custom, and then you can edit how the transparency works on these as well. So this gets a little bit more than probably what you're after at the moment, but if you do it with a gradient, you can then have custom gradients that, say if you're going from radial and you click on the last one and click there, you can make it transparent towards the edges, or you can do the opposite and make it transparent around the front. So this is absolutely useless in most settings, but it's also quite fun. There we go. So if I did something like that, I can then make something transparent on the bottom edge. So if I put this here and put it underneath, you can then see it, I can make it transparent. You can edit how much you want these to be like this, and you can edit how much transparency you want quite simply, but it's only got real limited applications in it, really. For example, if I made it, if I use this one here and move that square up, it kind of changes where, there we go, changes where that transparency gradient starts at, and you can see that here. So that will change things as well. There's different things you can do. I wish you could crop, and I wish you could just quite simply make something cropped to like one of these Google shapes. That would also be really useful. Haven't found a way yet. If you do find a way, please share it. Okay, that's it though. Hopefully that's been useful. Like I said, I will, once the YouTube video has been converted, I'll put all of the YouTube sections in different chapters here as well, so you can revisit them should you want to at a later date. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully that will be useful for you. Thank you, Jabaka. I'm happy you were able to stop by and find some use in my pet peeves. Otherwise, thanks very much, and we'll leave it there, and I'll see you all next week. Bye. You're welcome, Anna. 2 Annas. See you.